Hello, this is DarkElf85 on YouTube, or HektontheMage's on PSN, and welcome back to bottled water that's sweating profusely. But no, sweating, what do you call the condensation that goes on outside of a bottle when it's hot on the outside and it's a cold drink? I call it sweating. But anyway, it's probably condensation. But anyway, welcome back to Vampire the Masquerade Coteries of New York. I hope everyone is doing okay. I've been doing a lot of socializing with people today and yesterday, which I am not accustomed to. Almost thought maybe I wouldn't play today because this game involves a lot of reading. Meh, I bought some more bottled water, so I might be up for the challenge. Yeah, I don't how much I'll actually socialize in the U.S. Did I socialize it? Well, I mean, I was when you're in classes in university and high school, I did kind of have to socialize. Yeah, meh. Yeah. Oh, night 16. Actually, we're kind of pretty close to the end of the game. I know what's going to happen next. Everything kind of goes fast on night 16. This will not be an hour gameplay. And then I might hop on to the sequel. New York by Night. I forget what's the sequel called. I forgot what the sequel's called. I even updated the video today, and it showed the second one, and I don't remember what it's called. Because why would I remember it? Shadows of New York. Sorry, not New York by Night. New York by Night. I'm like, why did I think that? That's the World of Darkness TTRPG recordings. Silly me. But yeah. Night 16. Here we go. Actually, I'm going to turn this up on my end. If you hear another fan going, you might hear my AC unit fan, which, sorry, I have to have it blowing. And the other fan, my small fan, might be blowing. Yeah, I'm sorry again, but it's crap outside, folks. They claimed it was supposed to be raining, and it really didn't rain. So instead of a tropical rainforest humidity, it's just humidity. Yeah, it's disgusting. So yeah. Oh yeah, we can do... Let's do a nosy reporter. Frank Doherty, a shunning example of journalistic excellence, is trying to get in touch with you. This can't mean anything good. Oh, shit. I forgot that I got beat up the night before, so there's blood on my vision. You're just leaving your haven when you notice a small note slipped under your door. Also, why do I not have blood supplies? Why am I not a good vampire? It's been 16 nights. I should be a good vampire. I should have blood supplies. I should have frozen rats just chilling in my freezer. You know, for the boa constrictor that I have in my apartment. Actually, they would probably want live rats now that I think about it. But you know, dead rats, you take what you get, right? I don't know. But the fact is, why? Why do I not have blood? I'm not established enough to have blood. Okay. You're just leaving your haven when you notice a small note slipped under your door. You pick it up cautiously and fold it open. Anthrax. So not sorry. What am I saying? Sorry. I know what you are. I know everything. Meet me at the Beautiful View Motel, or everyone else would know too. The note is signed Frank. Cursing under your breath, you check the Beautiful View Motel. It's located in Queens. Getting there would take some time, and something in Frank's note suggests urgency. You run out of the apartment. Excuse me. There's a person walking in the distance. I was thinking, what other times do you see this background? And I think it's with D'Angelo. But unfortunately, I didn't choose that route. One and the same. Stepping into the Beautiful View Motel. Is that a real motel in New York City? And where are we? It wasn't Queens. Was it Queens? Wasn't it? No, wait. Where was it? It is Queens. Bronx. It wasn't Bronx. It was Queens. Is that a real place? People from NYC, can you comment about it? Or anyone who's been in NYC or lived in NYC? I don't really know. I don't really know, and I don't really care. But I'm curious. Anyway, stepping into the Beautiful View Motel, you can't help but think that the name makes promises that the building fails to deliver. Outside, there's nothing but an ugly parking lot, empty. The paint marking the parking spaces almost completely worn away. Well, it's just not upkept, up to date. All of the above. Standing in the lobby, it feels like there's decades worth of stale cigarette smoke. Well, probably. You're happy not being able to breathe anymore. The furniture looks like it was picked from a yard sale in the 60s. There is something appropriate in the grubbiness of the surroundings. They fit the image you have of Frank perfectly. It's appropriate to find him in a place like this. You nod to the old woman manning the reception desk. She seems totally uninterested in what you're doing, her eyes glued to the small TV perched on the desk. A cop show. Well, there was a reboot of that. Is that on Netflix? I don't really know. Actually, it might be. I don't. Whatever. Walking deeper into the motel, you find a lounge that might have aspired to a kind of lavish comfort in its glory days. Now it just feels sticky. Ugh, like you need to wash your clothes afterwards. Ew! Frank sits on a bar stool. There's no bartender, but Frank has a shot glass in his hand. He looks even sweatier than usual. What's up, asshole? How does it feel not to know everything? You stop and look at Frank a little closer. He seems drunk. Not a good sign. Despite everything, in your earlier encounters, he maintained a baseline of professionalism. You're drunk, Frank. Sure I'm drunk. Fucking hell. Frank's voice descends into incoherent muttering. You stop to consider what to do. You're not used to dealing with Frank in a mood like this. He seems more confident and depressed at the same time. Was that even possible? As if he had a secret that gives him power, but also brought him down. Why would I go behind the bar? Sure, why not? Let me pour you another, Frank. As Frank looks on, you rummage the shelves until you find a half-full bottle of cheap whiskey. Why am I doing this? I just was like, why not? You pour it into Frank's glass and then find another shot glass for yourself. Why would I? Oh, to fake, I guess. Thanks, asshole. It sounds as if Frank still wants to be angry at you, but he can't quite muster the energy anymore. Frank sounds like he has plenty more bitterness inside him waiting to come out. Let me tell you something else. An ear-splitting sound fills the lounge, and a bright flash blinds you. For a second, an irrational panic grips your dead heart. Is this sunshine? Are you going to burn to death in a cheap motel in Queens? I know, seriously. As your vision adjusts, something whizzes past you. There's a series of thunking sounds, something impacting the bar. Frank is lifting the shot glass, miraculously still in his hand. A mass of blood stains spreads across his shirt. For a bizarre, incongruous moment, you stare at the thing sticking out of Frank's chest. It's a crossbow bolt. Another two lights shatter next to the bar, having missed their targets. One missed you by a hair's breadth. Turning around, you see figures dressed in black tactical gear storming into the room in eerie silence. Perhaps the flashbang damaged your ears. They drop their tactical crossbows and lift up rifles. Who comes prepared with a crossbow? Frank slumps to the floor. Well, he's dead. A wooden crossbow bolt will paralyze a vampire, but struck through a human heart, it kills. The scent of blood fills the air. I am not a fighter. You're facing, especially when there's multiple of them and it's only me. Naga, please. You're facing a highly trained force of well-armed commandos. There's only one thing to do. Run away! You don't even stop to think. You just following your reflexes as you duck behind the bar and dive through a staff door as bullets hit the wall next to you. Think as I was behind the bar? Unfortunately, the blessings of the blood don't care whether you're being brave or a coward. The blood speeds up your body as you rush through the back room, past the empty beer kegs and the half-full boxes of liquor bottles. Spotting a back door, you burst outside into the night. Running around the corner of the building, you see 4 SUVs parked by the motel's front door, all black with tinted windows. Nope! A man and a woman, middle-aged, dressed like detectives, stare at you in surprise as you run past them. Yep, see ya! One tries to yell something as you stumble to your car, wrench the door open, and turn the ignition. For a terrifying moment, you fumble with the keys, but then the car starts and you floor it, careening onto the highway. High-speed chase! Oh, no. You run into Sophie's building past the surprised-looking doorman. Time is of the essence. You pound on the door of Sophie's apartment more for the sake of your own nerves than because you think it's any help. After a few moments, Sophie herself opens the door and looks at you in surprise. She doesn't have her makeup on and her hair is disheveled. You've caught her on a night off. What happened to you? As you step into the apartment and follow Sophie to her living room, you see the remains of a party. Empty glasses, a faint smell of blood in the air. You have no time to contemplate Sophie's social life, however. It was an ambush. They were prepared. You're compromised. Oh, fuck. For a moment, Sophie's facade cracks. She looks tired. Then she rallies herself. Sit down and stay calm. I'll check whether this apartment is still secure. You sit down, suddenly conscious of the vast gulf and experience between you and Sophie. She's managed to stay alive for a very long time and knows how to survive. You only hope that you'll survive along with her. For the next hour or so, you sit on Sophie's sofa. Sophie's sofa. Okay, anyway. Answering minute questions about Frank and the commandos who assaulted you. At intervals, she makes murmuring phone calls to mysterious contacts. After a long while, Sophie lets you go. You should be safe, and more importantly, I should be safe too. Of course, more importantly. I've taken measures to secure both of our havens, but keep your eyes open nonetheless. Speaking, well, you'll see in a moment, folks. You leave Sophie's apartment wondering whether you'd survive another ambush like this. Speaking of another ambush like this, here we go! Night 17. You wake up. This is not your haven. It's a cramped space. You try to move your arms and find they are tied to your body. You can barely bend your legs. When you try to stretch your neck, you hit a cold ceiling. You can't quite believe it, but this is a coffin, or something close enough to it. It vibrates slightly, but you can't hear any sounds coming from outside. It's entirely dark. Sharpen your senses. Aspects. You focus and divert your blood to boost your senses. You begin to deduce some details. The vibrations mean you're in some kind of transport, maybe a car. You can just hear the suggestion of an engine's hum. The cold interior is metal, for sure. More sounds that you try to focus on. Well, Dark decides to take a drink. I want to turn off my mini fan, but at the same time, I'll miss the nice cool air blowing of what's cold around here, or because of the AC unit. So, yeah, I don't want to turn off. A male voice, indistinct. The crack of a radio. Excuse me. The brakes of the car. An impact. The container jostles about. The car door opens violently. You hear a gun being cocked. A panicked scream. SI soldier. Operation Compromise! Engaging blank bodies! A deafening shot rings in your ears. Dazed, you return your senses to their normal levels. You know, like a fine-tuner or a volume control setting. The ringing continues. The lid comes off. What the? We found you. Do we have them? Come on, get up. We gotta get going. Seeing their faces... See, what's funny is that technically we're in a coterie, but after you do their side quests, they don't... I mean, they will indicate if you were playing the game for the first time and you didn't do trophies, achievements, whatever, it will tell you that you completed it and you got them in your coterie. But otherwise, you don't know. It's like there's no indication. Especially Tamika's, because it seems like, wait, do I need to speak with her again? And then her prompts don't pop up again, so what happened? Yeah, they don't talk about it. It's really strange, but meow. Seeing their faces is surprising, even more so in these circumstances. However, you realize the immediate danger and follow your companions out of the car and down a street in North Bronx. The van has crashed into another car. A familiar face, that of Kaiser's ghoul, Jackie, stumbles out of the wrecked sedan and slinks away into the darkness before you can call after him. The three of you jog away toward the line of trees and take shelter under some branches, just as you hear a chopper approaching. Its searchlight illuminates the wrecked van and moves toward you. Hide, now. You see Tamika literally go underground, melting with the earth beneath her feet, as if she was being swallowed up. You look to Agathon, who seems to be fiddling with a pocket mirror. He breaks it and suddenly disappears from sight. You're left alone with just seconds to make your move before the spotlight finds you. Time to use celerity. You take off before the light can reach you. In just a single dash, you find a small overgrown mound beneath an old tree. You realize you didn't have to run that far. The searchlight passes through where you were standing just seconds ago, but doesn't actually reach much further into the park. The helicopter flies on, its searchlight frantically moving through the vicinity as your companions once again appear in your proximity. Close call. We have to get out of here before the SI puts boots on the ground. Wait, the Second Inquisition? What do they have to do with anything? Agathon, fill them in while we walk. Follow me. It's interesting that they don't have like an indicator if you, well, because you don't know if they want to say he, she, whatever for your character. So, I mean, that's what most games would do anyway. And that makes sense. Either use they, them, because, you know, who knows who you are. If you're choosing a male character, female character, you don't use pronouns, you use whatever pronouns. Or when they write story scripts for your character, it will be like you'll notice it'll be either in second person, or they work around so they don't have to have an a pronoun. Yeah. Kind of, it's always interesting with stories like this when they do that, because it reminds me of how like Koreans speak, because Koreans don't really use pronouns. In Korean, you don't use pronouns. There's no pronouns. I mean, there are pronouns. Let me mention it. There are pronouns, but you really don't use them. In fact, I don't even know if there has. I don't know if there is a pronoun for he, she. I know there's a you, but you don't say it. There's only times when you usually say it. You only use you basically when it's in poetry. You say that you use you as like a pet name or whatever to like your lover or whoever, boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever you're seeing, or if you're cursing at someone. It's really strange. It's very, very strange. But then you'll see you like in certain statements, like rules or guidelines or something. Usually there'll be some other word to indicate, like, you as a person, like go get meme or something, like, you know, like, or, well, if it was like a restaurant, you'd see go get meme, or I don't know, at a shop or someplace, because that means like customer, or, you know, whatever, value customer, or something formal like that. But sometimes you'll see, I'm not going to say the phrase for you, but I mean, but you'll see it, but it's not like, but honestly, in most times when, and I think I mentioned this before, you usually either use people's titles, or you might use a word that, like, I don't know, if you're talking about your younger sibling, you're not gonna say their name, you're gonna probably just say the term for, like, younger brother or younger sister. Same as, like, especially when you're younger, you wouldn't call your sibling's name because they're older than you. You'll use their title, right? Whatever, older brother, older sister. And then if you're in a business setting, you might use their last name with their title, or you just use whatever their title is. Yeah, so it is interesting. But yeah, I don't even know. There's probably some phrase or word, but I just don't see it. Normally just see he or she. I know there's it, because you use it. Do you use it? Yeah, and I don't even see they. Yeah, it's interesting. But yeah. Okay, I've diverted too much of that time thinking about the different words of Korean. The Second Inquisition. They raided your haven, immobilized you, and were planning on taking you upstate to a secure facility. For further examination, I'm guessing. Kaiser let me know that you were in trouble. Wait, how did the SI know where I lived? You must have slipped up. That's all it takes. Then all the SI needed to do is just put the details together to form a full picture. They're getting better and better at it. Yeah, I don't think it matters. This just happens. It's part of the story. So we can claim that you messed up. It's like, there's all right. Come on. Stay low. The SI might still be around. Kaiser's familiar car stops nearby, and the back door opens. Your allies usher you inside and join you. Being inside this mobile fortress felt like a relief until now. Never felt like a relief. I was like, I'm missing a word. What? Yeah. Hey, fledgling. Miss me? I forgot what words he gave him. Actually, yeah, I kind of did. Aw, that's so sweet. I hate to break it to you, but I didn't take a sudden liking to you. I'm here on business. You're here now only because I told your buddies that you were neck deep in shit. That van you were in, a one-way ticket to Hurtville, Pennsylvania. I broke you out as a favor. Now you owe me big. A bone! How the hell did you know the SI broke into my haven and took me away? Is that a piss-poor attempt at an insult, fledgling? No, I want to know. I don't know why I cursed, though. I kept eyes on you ever since that little job you did for me in Nolita. You know, in case I needed you for something else. I had to know your comings and goings. Of course. Actually, his voice was deep. No. Callahan's voice was deep. Although he is probably Italian. Wait. Or he just likes Italian wine. Kaiser is a German name. I don't know. Maybe this is a title. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to go with whatever I've been speaking with, which hurts my vocal cords. But whatever. I have a good idea of why the SI hit you, Lamar. Not that there aren't tons of good reasons for it. It might have been one of these, for instance. The screens in Kaiser's car flicker, and each of them now show a short-looped clip. It's you, getting into a fight, feeding, using one of your... Whatever! You haven't exactly kept a low profile, fledgling. I get it, you're new to this. You didn't know better. Yada yada yada. The fact is, the SI has tons of this stuff. Really? Can you go without getting the SI involved? I've never done it. I mean, you basically have to not use your powers. And even that doesn't make any sense. No, because you get beat up by... Yeah, it's weird. Security camera footage, YouTube videos posted by onlookers, social media posts from victims, you name it. Like I said though, I don't think any one of these did you in. Slip-ups happen. The reason I need you walking and talking, Lamar, is to test a hypothesis of mine. For that, I need you to finish what you were tasked to do. So first things first, here. Hand you your phone. The number has already been dialed. You hear the tone. Somebody picks up. Who is this? It's me, Sophie. Lamar, are you okay? They're fine and dandy. Kaiser, what are you doing on this line? What do you think? It's my phone your protege is using, so keep it snappy. Operating a secure network ain't cheap. Come on, Lamar, spit it out. Listen, I got captured by the Second Inquisition, but I'm fine now. SI? That's what I feared. I believe I owe you an apology. I brought this on you in a way. I'm sorry. Ha, now I've heard everything. Shut up, you scabrous, filthy piece of... Uh-oh, I think we've got connection issues. Hold up. Kaiser drops the call remotely. He then waits about half a minute, after which he dials the number again without your input. Sophie picks up again. Got it out of your system, you fucking diva? Yes. Good. Keep talking. Lamar, the plan. We need to do it, tonight. But if the Inquisition is involved, and you broke out, they'll be looking for you, so we can't meet in public. I have a place in mind, but I can't give it to you while Kaiser's listening in. The Nosferatu just smiles. Call this number from where you visited before last we spoke. I'll come pick you up. She hangs up. And that's that. What is it that you've gotten yourself into? I'm more interested in what our next move is. The next move is keeping your asses seated in this luxury vehicle while our mutual acquaintance continues with their night. If my intel is worth a damn, your next stop, Lamar, is right about here. The car comes to a stop and the door opens. Outside, you see the street leading to Solids and Stripes, Torque's pool pub. Well, you need me to kick you out? What about Tamika and Agathon? What about them? They're staying right here where they are. They're staying right where they are, and we're going to have a little chat. After we're done, I'm sure they'll find their way back to their havens just fine. The clock is ticking. I think I know what Sophie wants to do tonight, and if I'm right, tonight's the last chance you've got. If you want to say bye to your buddies before you go, that's fine by me, but that schedule of yours is pretty hectic, so you better do it now and scram. You thank both of your companions for their assistance. Without them, you wouldn't be here now. Kaiser makes a gagging gesture and urges you to step out of the car. You turn around and make your way to the bar. The door closes behind you and Kaiser's limo starts moving again. I mean, which is driving, but you know, not the right words. You hope your companions won't have to pay too high of a price for helping you. The Solids and Stripes is pretty much abandoned tonight, with only the bartender, one bleary-eyed local, watching an old Bogart movie on the bar screen. You ask to use the phone and call Sophie first. Yes? I'm at the bar. Good. We'll be there in 15 minutes. If Torque's not there, notify him. We need to move, and fast. She hangs up. You tell the bartender to notify Torque, just like the Anarch leader mentioned you should. The man makes a short call. You only hear somebody picking up, but no words exchanged. The owner's on his way right now. Can I get you anything while you're waiting? Actually, do you serve the, special stuff? The bartender raises an eyebrow. The special reserve, you mean? Sorry, I can only serve that to a narrow selection of the owner's friends. I don't want to use my powers on Torque's employees. Listen, it's been a rough night. Give me a break, please. Just a sip. I don't know. I really shouldn't. Ah, what the hell. You really do look like you need it. He takes out a bottle from a safe behind the counter and pours a bit of brown liquid into a glass. It's whiskey. God damn it. There. Enjoy. Your disappointment is palpable. At least the smell is nice. Torque comes in some 10 minutes later. I forgot that happens. Without Mia. He tips his hat to you, puts a hand on the bleary-eyed patron's shoulders, and says something to him under his breath. They both laugh. Marty, how's the night going? Quiet, sir. Just how you like it, huh? Torque notices the untouched glass with a bit of whiskey in it that you persuade the bartender to pour. For me? Oh, you shouldn't have. He takes the glass and drinks the liquid, moving it around in his mouth before swallowing. He looks you in the eye. Sure, I won't keep it in forever, but the night when I don't enjoy the taste of good whiskey is the night when I will truly consider myself damned. Well, Lamar, I believe you wanted me here for a reason. Let's hear it. You're about to tell him what brought you here when the doors to the bar open and Sophie walks in, all splendor and charisma. The patron's eyes are now glued to her, and so are the bartenders. Torque isn't happy with the sight. Well, this isn't what we agreed on, Lamar. Care to explain? Things got complicated. We had to improvise. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. I believe Lamar already told you why I'm here. Not in any detail, and the circumstances of our meeting were supposed to be different. So, Ms. Langley, tell me why I shouldn't ask you to leave and kick out your protege while I'm at it? You will like what I have to say. Yeah, I've heard that line 100 times, but 99 of those ends with somebody getting hurt, and that's not something I'm in the mood for tonight. Oh, speaking of that. Well, of what happens next. We are wasting time. There is a unique opportunity we should take advantage of, and we only have an hour or so to discuss it before it will be time to act. My driver is waiting outside. Wait a goddamn minute. Oh no, sorry. Wait a goddamn minute. First of all, I'm not going anywhere without Mia. That was the deal. Second, it's Lamar who was supposed to be driving, not your servant. Both serve me, so really it's of little difference. God fuck you, Sophie. The circumstances changed and we had to adapt. Don't be stubborn. Foolishness does not suit you. I have a secure spot in mind where we can talk. I'll stop you right there. Torque is seething, but he's keeping a lid on his anger. His voice barely changes. My conditions were clear. The way I hear it, you want to break each one of them. I see no reason at all to agree to any of this. I believe I will be staying put tonight. You have places to be, yes? Torque, you're throwing away the only chance you have at challenging Callahan. Don't be a fool. The lid comes off. Call me a fool one more time, woman, and that's not the only thing I'm going to be throwing out. There is no good answer here, honestly. Because I think this one they both yell at you, and then this one the other yells at you. Torque, listen to Sophie. You can't afford to miss this opportunity. Callahan has to be stopped. I did not ask for your opinion, fledgling. If death stares could actually kill, you'd be decapitated by his. Sophie smiles. Isn't that just typical? You're all for democracy and the rule of the many, but only as long as they vote your way. Dissenting voices are silenced. You're no better than Callahan. Fuck this. Torque takes a bottle off the counter and breaks it over the bar. With a jagged piece of glass in his hand, he points it at Sophie. You two have precisely until the count of 5 to get out of here before I cut you up in little pieces. 1. You wouldn't dare. Try me. 2. Yep, here we go. Shots break the front windows and a flashbang goes off in the room, changing the bar into a space of white light and ringing noise. You feel somebody tugging at your back and are thrown beyond the bar. More shots ring out, bottles break, the TV shatters into pieces, the wooden bar splinters. They should have changed this scene so it kind of reflects that. That would have been pretty cool, you know, like now, after the last, when you click on the circle, then it all changes. Like have do like a little flat, you know, like a white fade out and back in, you know, like a flashbang, and then had it happen. That would be a nice touch. But I still like the game regardless. Your sight comes back, but you think you've gone deaf because suddenly the room is silent. You see Torque beside you and Marty, the bartender, bleeding out on the floor. You look over the bar. Not Marty! Sophie is standing there, her dress partly tattered, a visible hole in her leg. She is like the heart of a supernova, entrancing, unavoidable, beautiful, and terrifying. In front of her are 8 operatives, looking like a private military force, just standing there, paralyzed by Sophie's magnificence. Torque, you still there? Yeah. Would you kindly show your guests some hospitality? Sure thing. The Anarch is gone in the blink of an eye, and he reappears next to one of the soldiers. The armor-clad operative's head disappears in a puff of blood and bone. The same thing happens to the second, so he literally is popping their heads. The third, you hear the radios go off on those other soldiers' shoulders, a panicked voice pleading them to wake up. The fourth head pops. The fifth. They finally realize what's happening, but it's too late. The sixth man is beheaded, but what you now see is just Torque's bare-fisted punch. Torque punch! Yeah, he's like literally punching a hole through their neck. It's like, what the, you know, they just punch and there's no head. It's like, what the hell? Torque stops by the seventh man. Rips something off his neck and bites down. Sophie walks over to the last man and has him kneel in front of her before biting as well. On your right, a man in full body armor emerges from the back door, raising his assault rifle. What the fuck? Celerity, disarm the soldier. With a rush of speed, you take hold of the soldier's gun. He's too surprised to hold on to it. You turn it on him and shout the first thing that comes to your mind. On the ground, now! A combat knife crashes through the soldier's visor and into his skull. You turn around. Torque is grinning. He mouths something under his breath. You can hear the exact words. Still got it. Still got it. Langley? Sophie wipes her mouth of blood and looks at him. That meaning still an item? Yes. I'll take it. Splendid. Torque walks behind the bar and checks on the bartender. You see the Anarch open his own wrist and feed blood to the wounded man. Drink up, Marty. It'll make you feel better. Get the hell out of here and wait for Mia. She's coming. She'll know what to do. Torque? Yeah, coming. Take the back door. Lamar, come on. You sling back into an alley behind the bar. Well, Marty's gonna be a vampire. I don't remember if Marty shows up in the second game. You think he would. I don't remember. Well, we'll fight. Well, I don't know if we're going to fight out immediately, but yeah, I don't remember. Because we are going to probably play the second game tonight, or start it, folks. Which means I'm going to have to start another playlist. Gosh darn it. It's confusing for me on YouTube to try to figure out where I know where it is. I know where it is, folks. I'm not daft, because clearly I've made playlists. But it's just very confusing. Because it's like, they supposedly made it easier, but to me, they really didn't. It's like, it doesn't follow where it should be. Because they moved it. to make it easier. Whatever. Slink back into the alley behind the bar, leaving 10 bodies and 1 grievously wounded ghoul behind. Nobody stops you from circling around the block and finding your way to Sophie's car. Gregory drives away casually as if this was just another late-night drive and not the crowning of a desperate, complicated evening. The sense of irony is just overwhelming. The place where Sophie brought Torque turns out to be the very same apartment in which you were embraced. The way she explains it, the vampire who owned it left the city a few years ago and gave some spare keys to a few trusted compatriots. It's been used sporadically since. Well, you are a toreador. Fancy. You like it? It always felt too modern for my tastes, but what's important is that it's secure. As long as nobody followed your car here, or the fledgling. Trouble follows this one wherever they go. Even if that's the case, we have very little time to conduct our business here anyway, and we'll be leaving soon, I hope. So let's begin. You look at Sophie excited. Finally, you learn what it is that you've been working towards for more than a week, and what it is that Kaiser wanted you to participate in. I have it on good authority that Boss Callahan is bloodbound to Prince Panhard. Turk sucks air in loudly. That's an accusation and a half there, Langley. Got proof? No, but we're just a boat ride away from getting it. What is that supposed to mean? Lamar, the address that I procured from Kaiser was the meeting spot for Panhard's and the Baron's regular sharing of blood, and other bodily fluids, if the rumors are true. Wait, Kaiser knew about this? Is there anything that insufferable clump of dead skin doesn't know in this city? He knows everything, but only shares them if you pay. Neither the prince nor Callahan can touch him. He's too useful. Kaiser said something about having plans for me, that he wanted me to make this meeting happen. That can't be good, right? That is an interesting point. I think Kaiser might be as interested in shaking up the status quo as we are. A chaotic landscape makes for a great market for him, unlike a static one. I don't like playing into that creep's hands, but at least now I know that I'm doing it. The devil you know and all that. I actually don't know that phrase. What was the address he gave you? They meet regularly on Ellis Island. In fact, their next scheduled meeting starts in just around half an hour. Hot damn. Guessing you want to crash that meeting. Why? So you can see the proof for yourself, so that I can make sure, too, and so that I have an extra pair of eyes for Panhard to consider when I present her my ultimatum. The prince must abandon her seat and leave New York City. She can go wherever she pleases, but if she stays, the entire court will know, and the next prince might not look favorably on her past. Dealing with anarchs, especially so closely, is a punishable offense in the Camarilla, as I'm sure you've heard. So I did. Turk strokes his beard and looks intently at Sophie. What exactly are you trying to accomplish here? Say you remove Panhard, and even remove Callahan. Then what? Torque, did you ever wonder why Callahan is keeping you in check? Because I wondered why the prince condemns anarchs during her visits to Elysium, but doesn't allow the ivory tower to challenge you. She, or they, have engineered this status quo not for the good of their sex, but for private gain. They keep us all in line because it lets them hold on to power that much longer. And your goal is what? Make this Cold War turn hot? Not a great plan. You cammies will get your butts kicked out of NYC in no time. If you anarchs manage to organize, which I doubt you will, at any rate, it's a risk that I'm willing to take. I don't stand alone in this. This entire operation has been years in the making. Torque, I'm offering you a chance to square things with Callahan and level the playing field. If we get rid of these two, we can start an equal footing on the next at the next stage of this dance macabre. Sorry. Blech. So close. This game is almost over, folks. So I'm just like, it's almost over. It's almost over. I'm curious. Do I factor into this plan at all? Yes, we'll be taking you with us to Ellis Island, both as another set of eyes to witness the Prince and Baron in the act, and as a bit of added security. I don't think Helene or Callahan... Is it Helene or Helen? Or Helen? Or Helena? I forget how they pronounce her name. I'm going to say Helene. Helene or Callahan would dare to lay a finger on me, but they will not find me unprepared. You know, after all those years spent in Callahan's shadow and taking part in all the Kindred dick measuring contests, I should expect a ruse. Some ploy to kill me in an out-of-the-way place. That's our inherent paranoia talking. My gut tells me it's time to get the show started. I do hope you have a boat nearby, Langley. Sophie smiles mischievously. Of course I do. It's waiting for us by the pier. Lead the way, then. Moonlight's burning. Three of you leave the apartment and walk toward the pier. Nobody seems to be following you. You get on a small patrol boat and double time it through the Hudson's cold, dark waters. Oh my gosh, this house looks like the witch's house or whatever in Arkham Horror. And of all the places in NYC where the Prince and the Baron could meet, it's Ellis Island. We don't need Anne. It's Ellis Island. Yeah. A landmark with a dark past. A museum on one hand, a dilapidated piece of history on the other. You leave the boat and make your way to the southern part of the island, paying no heed to the renovated tourist attractions on the northern side. You expected some resistance. A night guard, a helicopter flying overhead, or maybe an NYPD patrol boat. Nothing. The island seems completely deserted. It's clear this sets Sophie on edge. She's moving as quietly and as subtly as ever, but you can see that she's eager to reach the particular house her intel pointed out. Torque is following suit, grimly determined, flashing his piercing gaze all over. So clearly uncertain that this isn't some kind of con. Finally you see it, light coming from a window in one of the buildings at the edge of the island. The three of you slowly creep closer to the building and take a look inside the window. There it is, Callahan kneeling in front of the Prince, sucking on Panhard's wrist, both fully clothed. A small blessing. Torque makes his move, and before Sophie can stop him, he busts through the building's doors. It all happens very quickly. Torque grabs Callahan by the shoulders and throws him through the still open door. Callahan hits the ground hard. Torque appears on top of him and starts punching. You fucker, piece of shit. Stop. The Prince's voice takes hold for just long enough to make Torque relent, which the Baron uses to the fullest. He shoves Torque off of himself and tries to bite down. Prince, call off your lapdog. Langley, what is the meaning of this? The two anarchs break apart, both wounded, but neither is quite done yet. They look at one another with pure hatred. Kill the bitch, Helene, but leave the fledgling to me. Right after I deal with this shit stain, I'm gonna... A shrill, unpleasant laugh fills the air. You know who it belongs to. Even though when you didn't talk to them about your, of the death of that, rebel. Because it wasn't when I almost got killed, it would be afterwards. So entertaining. Truly. It feels almost a shame to break up the spectacle, but alas... Thomas? Who the fuck is this joker? Ah, yes. I don't think we met. Though I did hear a lot about you, Mr. Torque. My name is Thomas Arturo, and I... Callahan uses this moment of uncertainty to strike. He's still too slow for Torque, who throws the boss onto the lawn where the two exchange blows once again. Ahem, Helene, if you'd be so kind as to ask your friend to not hurt our guest too much. Callahan, don't hurt him. This time Callahan comes out on top and grabs Torque in an iron hold. Your companion struggles but can't quite break away. I will not be denied, Helene. Not this time. You will do as I command. And she will do as I command her, Douglas, old boy. What? Like I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted. I feel like I need to break up this little spectacle. It's been going on for much too long. You think you're smart. You're so smart, Langley. You and your clique figured out that there was something fishy going on all on your own. But you were always working with just a piece of the puzzle. Wasn't she, Lamar? Sophie looks to you, shocked and disappointed. What I'm talking about, you ask? I wish it was what am I talking about, yeah. You fledgling! You don't know. How could you? Only I knew. And your sire, of course. They're the one who agreed to embrace you, after some negotiations. You hear a scream and a curse. It's Callahan, whose arm has been nearly ripped off his body. Torque breaks out of the Baron's grasp, but doesn't continue the attack. Instead, he's at the edge of the water in the blink of an eye and disappears into the Hudson. The only trace left of him is his fedora. Another actor going off script at the very end, eh? No matter. Let him bring up some amusement now that the production is almost wrapped up. He'll reach his allies. He'll tell everyone of this. Helene, even if we naively assume his nights aren't numbered now that he's in the SI sights, the show must go on one way or another. Won't hurt to encourage leaks and speculation. Sophie looks to you, or at you. How could you, Lamar? I saved you. Arturo suddenly appears next to her and slaps her in the face. Langley. What happened to your self-esteem? You can't really think a simple neonate has outplayed you. Or maybe this oblivious act is your way of groveling for mercy? Thomas, what? You thought that being an expert chess player would always be enough. You never realized that people at the top simply flip the chessboard over and punch you in the face whenever they don't like how the game is going. He motions to the remaining Kindred. But the thing is, you weren't even adept at playing the game you knew. Lamar, just another pawn placed on the board by my associate. You thought they were your piece since you took them in, but who gave you that idea? You returned to the night where you were judged by Prince Panard. The woman in red, Sophie. Somebody speaking to her, a man in glasses. That man standing before you now. This is cruel. We know what's going to happen. If only somebody would speak up for the poor child. They could be a useful tool for the Camarilla. Terror creeps onto Sophie's face. Of course, those are not the words you heard, were they? No. You were already grasping for some opportunity to further your scheme. I put the bait out, and you took it hook, line, and sinker. After that, it was only a matter of time before you started using Lamar as your errand boy. No one is quite as easy to track and monitor as a naive fledgling who's just learning the ropes. What is it that you want, Thomas? What do I want? Oh boy. The answer is so simple, but so hard to put into words. Stability, cutting-edge tales of thrills and intrigue that push it to the limit, and then return you to the tried and tested status quo, gently, infallibly. A system full of distracting moving parts which stimulate conflicts so convincingly that its users never feel a need to direct their energy toward upsetting the system. Achieving the eternal through the disposal, building a city that's like a ship of Theseus. constantly changing its parts, yet always maintaining the same purpose, serving the same goal at all times. A large-scale infrastructure that has something like an exhaust system for the spirit, something that disperses the toxicity around instead of concentrating it in a single place. None of what you're saying makes the slightest bit of sense. Arturo is momentarily stopped in his tracks. He stares into the sky for a few seconds before a sad grin appears on his face. I guess it will be about an hour. Spoken like someone who's never really had what it takes to make it in the big leagues. With a theatrical snap of fingers, he gives his last sentence a sense of finality. Something's changed in the air. A woman's shape slinks behind Sophie's back. Goodbye, Sophie. A disheveled woman with what looks to be garden shears appears behind Sophie. I try to do all of these and it doesn't matter. You take off and rush towards Sophie. You only take a few steps before a figure blinks right next to you and pushes you away. Arturo. You hear the shear snip. Sophie's red hair conceals her face as her head falls, separated from her shoulders. Silence. Arturo's unpleasant laughter erupts right next to you. Oh, Lamar, your career is moving at a breakneck pace. Oh, that's messed up. Moving up and up and up. Let me congratulate you on your promotion. Are you going to kill me too? That was the plan. At some point, but I've had a change of heart since then. Helene, feel free to leave us and take the Baron with you. Thomas, I don't think you should. Shush. You're just being jealous. Adelaide, escort the Prince and dear old Douglas, please. Sure thing, darling. Yeah. So this is the woman. So obviously, we saw the pictures from before, and I didn't complete her side quest, but she's the one that was tracking me, or following me. So yeah. I am not sure if she is. Well, I think they were saying she's Malkavian. I guess she's Malkavian. She could either be Malkavian or Lasombra, but I guess Malkavian, I guess. I don't know. I never really looked it up because I didn't want to. But yeah. You're left alone next to Sophie's body. You try not to look, but it's hard to ignore her lithe frame decomposing in front of your eyes. Congratulations! You've won this little game! You set out on a suicide mission and successfully brought down the power-hungry wannabe tyrant, even if it probably wasn't the way you imagined it. Now, you're free to enjoy paradise again. Life after death, immortality, eternal youth. What they don't tell you is, of course, living in paradise is inherently sinful when not everyone can partake. But you have time to learn how to live with sin, don't you? He takes a melancholic look at the city skyline surrounding him, the Statue of Liberty and the lights of Manhattan shimmering in the distance. Ugh, New York City. Blech. You know, New York taught me to believe in fate. My own life began right here, and it began with utter despair. My first instinct was to drown myself in books and keep reading and reading until literature gave me the piece of wisdom I needed to go on. Personally, I find reading a silly hobby in retrospect. Oh, fuck you, Thomas. It's the best hobby ever. As I like playing video games. No, I like reading. When I don't have anything around, I like reading. I feel like, I can get a lot done in reading. Well, you don't get a lot done, okay? Let me rephrase that. Unless it's an academic book. Yeah, not really. But you feel like you accomplish a lot if you like reading. I mean, which I do. It just needs to be in, I can't, these days, since I'm not a student, usually I only read when it's when I'm traveling distances. I think I mentioned this, folks. So like if I'm on the train or if I'm on a long distance bus, not just like in the city, because yeah, that's not long. Unless it's really far away, then maybe. But usually traveling across city on the bus or on airplane. I mean, well, on airplane, I might play a game, and then once the battery dies, then I will switch over to the book. Well, it all depends, but that's usually how I read. Like, if someone else is driving or other things, then I might pull out a book. But otherwise, yeah, it needs to be like at a certain time and place when I read if I don't do it when I'm in like doing other stuff. Because usually when I'm at a coffee shop, I'm doing other things. Nowadays, like working while watching or listening to YouTube while doing stuff like in the background, doing that, listening more in the background while working or something, mainly to drown out the loud coffee shop noises. Hopefully usually the coffee shops weren't loud in the USA, but I don't know, who knows. But anywho, I digress. I always had this minuscule hope that the next sentence I'd read could finally bring me salvation, but it never did. It only gave me fuel for this elevated, righteous, intellectual suffering. But the more I read, the easier it was for me to boil every paragraph down to a power relationship. The characters' influence over each other, the writer trying to impress the reader, etc. The strings everyone pulls started to look like strands that weave into the fabric of fate, and once I saw its beauty, I got teary-eyed. My architect instincts kicked into overdrive. I didn't have to submit to fate. All I had to do was cooperate with it and wait for my time to shine, give it my input wherever needed until it trusted me to do more. Thomas steps over what's left of Sophie, wiping his glasses with an elegant cloth from his pocket. And it did. Fate let me look after the city. With my architect's tools, I started quietly shaping the streets and corridors, while Kaiser and his ilk shaped the information flow. And among many tools this process gave me, one of them was a way to reliably come up with useful agents like you. The methods I used were crude at times, but the route was there. All you had to do was follow it. Some people write rule book passages. The others plan city arteries. In the end, the effect is the same. Someone always follows. He puts on the glasses and gives you a long, hard look. You know, I have grown fond of you. You did so well. Even when that idiot Callahan tipped the Inquisition off, you still got out. I like that kind of resourcefulness. Oh, fuck Callahan. I could use that kind of resourcefulness. He uncovers his wrist. So, take my blood. Just enough so we can start off on the right foot, as a sign of good faith. A sign that you're ready to play in the big leagues, ready to behold the sights I've prepared for you. What do you say, Lamar? End of game. Yeah. So that's the end. And that's usually, and that happens with all three. Yeah. You get bloodbound to Arturo. Which, if we do one of the other routes, you know that he's basically the, what is it called? The harpy in the court. So the one that has like the gossip. Oh no, we did talk about that. I think that was mentioned earlier when we met him at Sophie Langley's place. But yeah. Or maybe did they say it? I don't remember. But yeah. That's what happens. Can I skip this? I can. You know what? I won't, because you should all see the credits. But I mean, there's really not a lot to think about as my opinion and thoughts. I mean, I like the art style. I like the music. But it's, of course, a visual novel. Most visual novels have one way. it is a one-way route, whatever you want to say. There's some deviation time and then, and of course you can pick whatever stuff you want to do in that deviation. And even with the dialogues, there's not too much line differences because it still goes in the same direction for each of the different side quests for the most part. Except if you fail to get the member, which I never did. This is the first time I couldn't get Hope. Well, rip, we got Tamika instead. But yeah. But it's linear. I mean, that's all. So, I'm going to boot up the second one once it loads back. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it deletes your save file. Which, kind of bleh. The second game, the sequel, is a little bit different. And you only play as one person, too. But yeah, there's some differences. But it is in the same familiar setting. Yeah, see? I'm correct. It deleted my save. So once you finish it, it just deletes it, which I'm like, wow. But yeah, I mean, you won't see this unless people are watching it. But I will boot up and start playing Vampire the Masquerade. I can't remember it. Shadows of New York. Haha. So we'll do that. Oh yeah, she is. Okay, Adelaide isn't a list number. She has to be a Malkavian because of what's going to happen in the second game. So anywho, this is so. Oh yeah, so I mean, I like the game. I like Vampire the Masquerade stuff. I like vampire stuff, and I like visual novels. I'm someone who's. I mean, I'm not going to say wow, but I like it. It's story driven. I really do like story-driven things. I can overlook certain things if it's a good story, and I feel like, I mean, there's some like especially with it's called Coteries of New York, and yet there's not really after you get your coteries, you don't even know if you got your coterie members, or you don't do anything as a coterie, so other than them saving you right before the end too. But yeah, but it's a short visual novel. So yeah. I say short, I mean it's what? Well, it depends on how you play it. If you're not reading the lines like me, yeah. But yeah, I like it overall. It's an okay game. And okay, so what rating of my okay is that? Because I don't really say a lot. Although, yeah, really. Unless it's extremely a good game. See, I say extremely good. I don't even say... Although I think with Masquerade's Songs and Shadows, I actually did say something more than like good or okay or great. But yeah, usually as I talk, I don't use a lot of higher things. It depends on how I say good or okay, or if I'm using other emphatics in front of those words. Those adjectives. I just don't. I don't like saying, oh, wonderful, terrific, because I don't even say that in life, folks. I'm such a downer. Oh, gosh. Anywho, I think it's an okay game. I like it. We're going to go into the next one in just a moment. Or for you, maybe later if you're watching these later, whatever. But this has been the conclusion of Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries of New York. This has been DarkElf85 on YouTube or HektontheMage on PSN. And I hope you all have a very good rest of the day, night, or anywhere in between. Stay safe out there, folks, and goodbye.